Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to replace the torsion spring on my garage door. I went away to New York for a while. My wife was at home. Good thing the car was outside when the spring broke. Now, this is a single spring system. I'm going to replace it with two springs. And the reason for that is when your spring breaks, these doors, they may look not heavy, but it's about 160 pounds. You can't lift it. Now, if you have two springs and one spring breaks, because usually only one spring breaks at a time, you still can manage to lift the door because it's half the weight. Now, 160 pounds is too much for my wife to lift. So what I did was I went online and I ordered a new torsion spring from Home Depot. I'm going to open that up the box. Now, I already took out the two bolts that were holding the torsion spring to the center bracket. That I already did. The spring tension is already off of it because it broke. So there's no danger of removing the bolts. I must emphasize this. Putting in torsion springs into a garage can be very dangerous. If you don't have the mechanical ability to work, please do not try this. It can be extremely dangerous. You can end up with a serious injury or death. So I'm going to open the box, I'll take it out, and then I'll show you what the box consists of. Now you're going to need some tools for this. You're going to need a pair of vice grips, and you're going to need a ratchet. Tighten up the bolts and the screws that hold it together. I'll be showing you each step that I'll be going through. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the power for the garage door opener. You do this as a safety, and all you do is the garage door opener is up there. Just pull the plug out, and that takes off the power. The springs are wound right and left hand wound, and it's indicated by the color coding that's on here. The red goes on the left hand side, and the black goes on the right hand side. This is what came with the kit, the winding rods. This is to put tension onto your springs. My garage door, when I bought the house, was only with one spring. That's perfectly normal. Some garage doors only have one spring. Now, the thing is, if there's two springs, what you have to do before you take off the pressure from this, you have to take the pressure off from the other spring. So you need the winding rods to take off the pressure. I can't show you that because I don't have another spring on there. On each side of the garage, we have a cable drum pulley. What we have to do is we have to take those off in order to put the new springs on. Take a pair of vice grips, and the vice grips we put onto the door track here. This will prevent the door from rising when we tighten up the windings. Now that will prevent it from rising up. Next thing we do, we take the ratchet. There's two set screws on the drum. What we do is we take a 7/16 and we loosen that up. So we can remove the set screws. There's a little notch on the side of the drum, and I'll show you up close. I already took the set screws, I backed them out so it slides. The cable, there's a little notch over here. You want to remove the cable. You take it off and you set that over on the side like so. And now we do the same thing for the other side. We have to loosen the other side up. So I take the set screws, move it over, take out the cable. Now this can be moved over. I forgot to do one other thing. I have to loosen the set screws on the spring. Just slide that down there, like so. Now we can move over the rod that it sits in, and it comes out, comes off. Then you just remove the drum and remove the spring. You get the spring for this side, which is marked with the black on this end, and where the bolts go, you slide this through. And that goes on like so. And we put on the cable drum. And we push this through. Okay? Now we go to the other side and we'll take off the cable drum off that side and we'll put on the new spring. Now we push this down. Take the drum off and put the spring on. Then put the drum back on, pull it over. And put that in, just like that. So the next thing we're going to do is we have to put the bolts through to the center bracket, and we use a 9/16 inch socket and a wrench. And what we do is there's a plastic bushing here. You only need one of these. And what the plastic bushing does is it goes inside one of the springs. Just make sure that you place it in, and then you put it together. Now the bracket has a slot here for where the bolt goes through. And I got the bolts right here. And we put it through one and then put it through the other. Now, don't tighten this up until you have it ready in the right position. Now what you want to do is eyeball it. Okay, you want it even. So you want it about the same distance from the wall, and you want it even. Now what we do is you take your 9/16 inch socket. It's a little hard. You know what I need? I need an extension on here. And then we'll hold that together and do the top. That's on. Just make sure it's tight, because you don't want this coming apart. Now I'm going to take a little break so I can set up the camera to show you how to put back on the drums. So now we're going to put on the cable. The right cable drum will get rotated clockwise when you wind on the cable. On the left side, you turn counterclockwise to put on the cable. So you put in the cable through that slot and then turn it clockwise, thread it on there. Now make sure it's not hung up on anything. You want this against the bracket, and you want to have that tight. Now it's not too important to put too much pressure on here right now. Now we do the set screws so it bites into the rod. Now this cable holds the weight of the door, so you have to have these in right. Now what we do is we want to have that where it's wound on there, and we want to hold it in place with a pair of vice grips. And you put it against the header or the ceiling to hold it in place. Okay, that holds it in place. Now we go on the other side and do the same thing. Like I said, you put it in the slot here, and you go the opposite way. You go counterclockwise. And that's why you put the vice grips over there, is to hold it in place. The next part of this procedure is to wind the springs. These springs came with winding bars, and it goes in these holes. Now each turn is a quarter turn. They have charts online. Depending on the height of your door determines how many turns you take. Mine's a 7-foot door, so I'm supposed to take 31 turns of it on each side. One thing about this, these set screws are different measurement than the other set screws. The other ones were 7/16, this is 3/8. Let me get my ratchet. This is the danger zone right here. You want to have your face away from this area here where you're going to be turning. And like I said, it takes 31 turns. So we insert it And we're going to go 31. Ready? I'm not going to film the whole thing. 1, 2, 3. I did the 31 turns, and now I have to do the set screws. What you do is you let the bar rest against there, the tension will hold it in. I want to just tighten by hand with a wrench because I can feel it better. Now what we have to do to get the rod out, we have to release the tension a little. Now, you have to be very careful on this part because if those set screws don't hold, if you didn't do it right, I'm releasing it and take it out. Now we do the same thing with the other side, 31 turns and set it. I'm not going to film that, but you get the idea. So I completed it. I did the turns. It was too many turns. The door was what they call hot. It rose by itself. I made some adjustments. You make adjustments with the rods and tighten it back up with the set screws. And it turned out to be 28 and 27. And I found that that was the right amount for it. Closes. What you want it to do is you don't want it to rise by itself, but you don't want it to be too heavy when you lift it. So you want to do what's called balance, and that's it. All I have to do is hook up the door opener. Now, sometimes what happens when you put the door opener on with new springs is you have to adjust the sensitivity of the door opener. That can happen. But I'm not going to get into that. As long as you have the door balanced, then you can hook up your automatic door opener. I don't get into the sensitivity settings or anything because there are many different types of door openers. You have to read the manual for your door opener. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's a nice home project. Like I told you, make sure that you have the proper aptitude for doing things like this. If you don't, call a professional in because you can get severely hurt or killed by the turning rods. There's a lot of tension on these springs. Thanks for watching. Please click like, subscribe, share, comment down below. Have a good day, everyone.